Okay, so a week ago today, I just got back from 2 wonderful weeks in Egypt on the Karnak Sunrise Tour with Noel, and really had just the most wonderful, magical time. And I can say that the whole positive experience of it really started like months before the trip even happened. Basically, in the planning stages, just trying to get the reservation and the booking confirmed, and working with Noelle herself. I didn't know her before this trip, but just going through that whole process, she made that really smooth. She made it really easy. I super appreciated that she had a very flexible payment plan. Going to Egypt is on a lot of people's just bucket list, and obviously that's a pretty big trip for a lot of people, especially out here in the West, to go that far. And so, you know, saving for that can be difficult for some, but again, that flexible payment plan really made it easy and like an option for people that may not have been able to do that otherwise. So very much appreciate that there's flexibility with payment. She really works with you to make sure that you can go on this trip and you can do it in a way that's gonna work for you and be easiest for you. Another thing I really appreciated in that pre-planning stage was just prompt, clear communication, and that speaks to like individual communication as well as group communication. We were fortunate enough here in San Diego that we had a group of 4 to 5 people at any time that were kind of considering this in the planning stages, and Noel set up a group message for us. So even though there is that time difference, which obviously I've taken into account for, she's not going to message back in the middle of the night, but always got back to you like really quickly if you had a question about something. And again, really appreciate communication with individuals answering their questions, but then also as a group, because to me, traveling with a group is not something I'm super comfortable doing all the time. You really have to have the right people. So I felt like she really kind of brought our group together by doing that. I also loved that she was willing to meet with us over Zoom, because for me, even though I'd heard her voice messages, so I had an idea of like kind of how she spoke and what that vibe was, getting together in a Zoom meeting for me really sealed the deal, because it showed that like all of us, the way we interact with each other, the way we speak with each other, like you got a much better sense of that by having a Zoom call versus just sending messages back and forth. So really appreciate that, because again, I feel like that Zoom call really sealed the deal by showing like, how personable she is, and that our group was just really gonna vibe together. So very much appreciated all of those things during that pre-planning stage. Once we arrived in country, some of the things I really liked about working with Noel while we were there was that she really made sure that we were thoroughly taken care of, that everything was taken care of on her part, to make it easiest for us, but it was in a way that still allowed us to really get a feel for the place, interact with people. So it was like taking care of us, but without the super clingy hand holding that I feel you can get sometimes on these kind of group tours. Like when food would come or we were having an interaction with, a shop owner or something like that. She was there to like explain what to expect, but in those moments allowed us to kind of have that individual interaction, or, choose to eat our food in whatever individual way. So there to provide a lot of that information beforehand, kind of knowing what to expect, but also backing off at the right moments so that we were still able to have those interactions as individuals without somebody doing that for us. So really appreciated that balance of like making sure we were prepared for a situation, but also allowing us to experience it all in our own individual ways. That was like my favorite part about working with her, like while we were in country. Overall, had the absolute most amazing time on this trip, and I think that a huge part of that was not only the group that I was able to go with, but the fact that Noel and our group just really, really meshed. We really vibed. We really had great rapport throughout that whole trip. So that was a huge, huge bonus for me. And also just the fact that Noel kind of lives there, has that insider scoop. So we were able to experience Egypt in a way that I think not everybody does, because we had somebody on the ground who lives there to, like I said, not only talk to us about like what to expect in situations, but kind of throw out those fun little details too, right? Like our group was super into dance and music, so having that special touch of like she could explain kind of the history or just kind of the vibes behind some of the different types of music that we were hearing. You know, when it came to food, it's not just like, here's a new dish for you to try, but she would also be like, oh, here's how many Egyptians would eat it. So we kind of got those little insider details because, again, she's living there and can kind of give us that local point of view. So I think overall, versus going with any tour company, that's one thing that Noel really kind of excels at, and that's, you know, a great niche that she has there, is she understands our Western culture and kind of how we go into situations, our point of view on things, and she understands that point of view. She also understands the Egyptian point of view, so she knows how to bring those two views together to give us an experience that we will be able to handle, that we will be able to understand, and to understand it from both points of view. So that was my absolute favorite part about it, and the one thing that I think makes traveling with Noel really, really special, really unique. And yeah, overall, the most magical, wonderful trip ever, and I can't wait to book another trip coming up here in the next couple of years. So if you're thinking about it or on the fence about it, just do it. Book with Noel, go to Egypt, experience it with her. It's absolutely worth it.